All right, guys, welcome back. So sorry for all the delays, but we do got game set number 2 here, our second match of the quarterfinals, rip, raring, and ready to go as we're going to have Hendrilisk take on Elegance in this best of 3. Our first map is going to be Frost.
Yep, another PvZ here in... What? Oh, okay, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, it's
now
good to talk into the mic. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so as I was saying before, we got another PvZ here in the TorCraft 2014 Finals. Starting off on Frost, Elegance versus Hendrilisk. Elegance is Diamond. Hendrilisk set his Masters right now on North America.
Masters. Yeah.
Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we actually made fun of him for getting Masters once, and then he just won every match. It was like, oh, all right, yeah, he's clearly Masters.
Yeah.
Clearly Masters.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're loading up into the game here. Frost, it's a 4-player map. A lot of things can happen on this map, such as with most 4-player maps.
Well, especially, like, we've seen Massa actually do some cheesing there in the mid, and, you know, if Endersword is actually still around, he's actually now doing our observing, so give a round of applause for him if you could, because he's really good at observing.
Yeah.
We have seen some cheese, you know, from some of our Protoss out there as well, could lead into some nice cheese here from Elegance, but the trick, however, is going to be finding your opponent, because, as you said, 4-player map, if you try to cheese the wrong location, that's really going to put you behind.
Yeah. And as you were saying, if you go to the wrong location, then it's going to put you behind in terms of economics, but also in time. You won't have your tech in time, and you won't be able to do just a lot in general. And, you know, we have game number 1 here, but in this best of 3 ready. All right, so who do we got here on the top left?
Well, top left from Complexity Sound Blaster, it is one of the most well-known Zergs here in Toronto. Give it up for Mr. Hendrilisk. I heard some cheers there. Yeah, always good to have the support of the fans.
And over on the top right, we have our underdog here. He is one of the few Protoss in Toronto. Can he bear the torch for the race? It is from Imperative Gaming, Elegance.
Oh, listen to that crowd. Gotta love a good underdog story. Now, if you're not going to be throwing out any kind of cheese or fun stuff like that on 4-player maps, typically you're going to see it played out safe. So I'm a little curious to see if we're going to see expanse first from our players or if we're going to see something a bit more interesting.
Well, you know, as I was saying before we started this game, Frost. Woo! Oh, shots
Love
fired.
you too, Hendrilisk.
Yeah. So as I was saying, Protoss, they can do a lot of things on Frost just because of the fact that it's a much larger map. So really anything goes here. It's up to whatever the Protoss player is comfortable with. And then the Zerg, they pretty much just have to go off and react from it.
And I'm just waiting to see what kind of reaction we're going to get when Elegance, he's obviously not going to find the Zerg in the bottom, but we do got an Overlord going that way. So if we were put up a pylon, that would have been actually very interesting to see what Hendrilisk would have done from that, but does not look like any kind of cheese will result. In fact, we actually got quite a few minerals there in the corner, so Elegance probably, I want to say, going to go for a Nexus.
Yeah, probably going to be going Nexus first here. Frost, again, a much larger map. It's a lot safer to go Nexus first. Unfortunately for him, it is horizontal spawn, so, you know, Hendrilisk went spawning pool first. If he can find him in time, then he can deal damage, but it looks like he's just going to be throwing down his hatchery. He hasn't really gotten his Overlord in place in the quickest amount of time that he'd like to, so probably just going to be going for a macro game. 15
drones out there for Hendrilisk, 17 there for our Protoss, but you know, Forge in the front, you know, hopefully that will be a bit more of a more solid wall than we saw there from Endersword a little bit earlier. Hendrilisk, however, with those Overlords is not going to find anything here in this corner, and I want to say that's actually another one just heading off on the cross. So
yeah,
both players are more or less going to find each other about the same time, and they're just going to notice that it's going to be a bit more of a macro game.
Yep, right now the probe going to be heading up into the natural. It will find the hatchery. It will also see a couple drones there already. So Elegance has spotted him first and has his Forge up already, getting a gateway, getting a cannon. So it's not going to be too bad in terms of safety here for our Protoss player. He's going to be able to keep his natural, get it up and running. But Hendrilisk, he realizes that the Protoss player is going to be playing for that natural. He's not going to be going too aggressive right away. So he's just going to be going and taking a third here on Frost.
And as a Zerg, it is usually good form to be up a base, so to speak, because you need the larvae, you need the production, and especially, you know, queens are going to come in big for that. It's also going to be great for the creep highway. Just, you know, have a goal to connect all these and get out not only the map vision, but the increased move speed, the regeneration. It's, you know, it's all things that Hendrilisk as a Zerg is well known for. And things are really getting rowdy over there, aren't
Yeah. You know, we are here in the Ambrosia Room of Anime North 2014. All of the gaming stuff happens right around here, actually. You know, we have the Retro Room across the hall. We have the fighting game stuff on the other side, League on the left, and then, of course, our stage here in the center.
At least 3 different genres of gaming being done here. And, 10 years ago, well, 12 years ago, I should say, is the final year of my high school was actually before. It was the last Anime North I went to, and then 10 years, 12 years go by. I come back here, and all of a sudden we have this gaming section at Anime North that didn't exist back in my high school days. So I'm a little jealous of you, Delk.
Yeah, well, I live in a very different era than you probably had your high school time in.
Yeah, times have changed. Back in those days, it was Dragon Ball Z shirts for $25. That was the rage.
Well.
Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate going to be coming out from Elegance. I feel like an Oracle, very possible, but Void Rays is also very good. Phoenix as well. Especially versus Zerg. Phoenixes, they work extremely good. They control the map. They control the air presence, so that way the Overlords can't see things, and then it's a lot easier to do a forward push without getting noticed.
It is definitely one of the race weaknesses of our Zerg because, with their supply, they have to have Overlords, and Overlords are very vulnerable to Phoenix. And this is actually something that we've seen Desro actually do a few times. He did Kings of the North, and I believe in both of his games he actually did go Phoenixes. And I think the magic number we settled on is about 5.
Yeah,
expect about 5.
Yeah, 5 to 6, and it is going to be Phoenixes here from Elegance. Definitely a good choice.
RoboBay.
Yeah. Robotics facility probably behind this just to get up some Colossus, I'd feel, versus Zerg.
I'm trying to decide, has he actually scouted out? Did he notice that there's any roaches coming out? Because then I would have expected to see Immortals. But if it is just going to be blind counter, I mean, Muta Ling Bane is very popular as a Zerg strategy. So going for the Colossus is not going to be a terrible idea. But we're going to have some roaming Phoenixes for a bit.
Yeah. In fact, in Nubergini's and Elegance's tiebreaker for TorCraft 2014 season finals, I believe Elegance did, in fact, go for the Colossus versus Nubergini. Didn't work too well, but, Angela's a different player, so we're going to get to find out. Looks like this first Phoenix is going to get that Overlord.
The slow bleeding death of an Overlord. There's actually multiple Overlords now going to be hit there. That's 2 down for Hengelis. Of course, he has a whole bunch of reserve. He knows at this point, if you see 1 Phoenix, you're going to be seeing a lot more, and you can see the mass spawn that just actually happened right there. So it's not even really going to impede him. At best, it's just wasting out a few larvae at this point, just delaying, again, a bit more of that mid-game setup that Hengelis wants to go. But, in terms of an army supply from both sides, not really too much happening. A lot of air presence coming out from the toss, but absolutely zero presence coming out here from Hengelis.
Yeah. Right now, these 3 Phoenix, they're just trying to put in whatever work they can, but Grief spread's pretty good here. We'll be able to pick up that first Queen. And, yeah, the Hydralisks are coming out in response to these Phoenix already, and Groove Spine going to be on the way. But these 8 Hydralisks, so long as they pop out pretty close to the 3rd and the natural, should be able to get those Phoenix pretty quickly.
And again, the creep highway is also going to come into effect. The Hydra should be able to get point A to point B to point C fairly consistently. So that's 4 Phoenixes. We're looking for a 5th. Don't actually see it, so it looks like we might actually just stop it right there. But again, Hydras are extremely quick on this creep.
Yeah, and right now I feel like Muscular Augment's probably a good choice to get here for Hengelis.
And here comes the Mutas as well.
Yeah, and with the Spire units, definitely just going to be a force to be reckoned with. Right now, though, we haven't seen too many robotics facility units coming out of our Protoss player here.
Not yet. No, you do got a Colossus as well as, I think that's armor right there.
Yeah, +1 armor.
Yeah, coming out. So, as you said, it might actually be the blind, but if we do have the scouting information out, then we should be able to see that there are going to be Mutas coming out. And, Mutas are not going to be impeded at all by Colossus.
Yep.
Oh, it's hidden.
The Spires.
Sneaky.
Yeah. And, Hengelis is a very good Zerg player. He should probably be able to tell that Colossus even before they come out, which is why hiding the Spire, definitely a good choice. Getting those Corruptors out and then being able to deal with the Colossi with relative ease, especially since he did go for the Hydralisks on the ground. He's going to need some kind of air support against those Colossus.
Well, a mix of Zealots, Colossi, and Phoenix so far for Elegance. And at this point, we can only assume it's going to be some Ling Hydra and mutas to come here for Hendrilisk. A little bit light on the army at this point, but I mean, he has what, 4, 5, looking for 6 base coming up here for Hendrilisk.
Yeah.
He's really just expanding to all points.
Yeah, and Elegance, he's not doing too bad himself, though. He does have a relatively high economy, is getting up his 3rd base right now. Though, again, as you said, once Hendrilisk is gunning for getting a lot of bases. Once that's up, he will be fine in terms of money for a long, long while. And Elegance, he's only now getting up his 3rd. It's going to be a bit difficult for him.
Look at that cannon wall.
Yeah.
Best cannon wall NA. But yeah, this hidden spire down here, again, just going to be playing around with Elegance. He might actually suspect that it's going to be happening because he hasn't really seen anything else come out from Hendrilisk at this point. And I got to say, having Hydralisks on Hendrilisk's team is definitely something that you can make a tongue twister out of.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Elegance going to be pushing out here with 2 Colossi. He does have Thermal Lance finishing up pretty soon, but needs to be careful. Doesn't want to take too big of an engagement without it. It's going to be very difficult to do a lot with his Colossi with just regular range.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need some Zerglings in here to start getting that surround going, but it's going to actually be a counterattack here with the Hydras. They're going to go straight ribbon into the 3rd, and I mean, not really that much was lost at Hendrilisk's 18th there.
Yep, and right now the Zealots just taking him out. The Phoenix going to be able to pick up these Hydralisks, thin them out. Colossus do get back home and should be able to clean them up, and will do that. So Elegance, not in too bad of a position, is 40 supply down, and we do have, it's just the regular count of about 30 Mulisks.
Yeah, the regular count, right.
This is completely normal. This is what Zerg players do to us, Protoss. They make us make a lot of Colossus, and then they just make a crap ton of Mutas.
He's ripping into those entries. Again, the Colossi are not even going to be phased at this, but the Mutas, the bounces, they're really trying to get into those sentries, and Guardian Shields did delay it quite a bit. Here comes the Zerglings now as well. I believe that's 24 Zerglings right there, but geez, those Mutas. I was wondering why he was throwing away those Hydralisks. He needed the food.
Yeah, he needed the supply available, but I don't know if I liked so much going for those sentries. I feel like aiming for those Colossus.
Well, they can't shoot up.
Yeah,
like they're easy pickings, and these Zerglings in the back of the base here from Elegance. This is not a good spot for the Protoss.
That's true. And, Hendrilisk, he's just been able to put in a lot of damage than natural, still taking more damage. It is 91 drones to 72 probes. This is one of the highest worker counts I've seen in StarCraft.
At least for TorCraft, for sure. But still, I mean, Hendrilisk at this point, he's just forced to fight. I mean, he has 6 bases going for 8. Has a ton of larvae at his command. He can just throw this away and replenish much quicker than Elegance.
But it's still pretty difficult, though. These Mulisks are doing a lot of work here. Only 1.5 Colossus available. GGQ well played.
Quite well played.
Yes.
Quite well played.
Hendrilisk going to be up 1 game here in this best of 3.
Going into this, a lot of people would say he is the favorite, but again, Toronto really known for their Zerg players, and Complexity Sound Blaster Hendrilisk has been a consistent top 2 placer in all the TorCrafts that we've been running ever since December last year. Yeah,
and Hendrilisk, he's been not only just doing well in TorCrafts, he's also been doing well in a lot of other tournaments as well. Habitation Station is going to be our next map, and as I was saying, a lot of tournaments Hendrilisk has been winning. Just recently win the Breakout Invitational Season 2, and with that he won over $1,000. Just over.
Hendrilisk also placed in, I want to say, WCS Premier?
Yes, he is WCS Premier, round of 32 right now. He is going to be playing his group later on in the season. And
impressive stuff from Canada.
Yeah. A lot of Canadians in the WCS 2014 year.
Could never have too many Canadians in top tier StarCraft, top tier esports. If you look at the League of Legends side as well, I mean, a lot of the top teams there have a good mix of Canadians.
Yeah.
I mean, Huck from StarCraft is definitely very well known. Scarlet, of course, one of the top tier players ever. She's also from Canada.
Yep.
It really makes us very proud to see a lot of our gaming talent entering the global market. Who knows? A year from now, maybe Hendrilisk will be competing for us on the global stage.
Yep. And, we're going to be getting up game number 2 here set up. Elegance, he's really going to be going hard with his reads. He cannot afford to blind scout things too hard, or else he's going to be in a lot of trouble in this second game.
And speaking of the second game, Habitation Station is loaded, and we are ready to go. So we are going to jump straight into it, guys. These players are hot on the heels of after that action to finish up this series. Will it be Complexity Sound Blasters Hendrilisk going for a 2-0, or will Elegance be able to bring this back? And I got to say, I got to root for Elegance simply because he has a Carbot Zealot for his avatar. I love the Carbot animations. I think they bring a lot of humor to StarCraft.
Yeah. And speaking of Canadians, Carbot's Canadian too. I believe he's down in the Niagara region.
Look at that.
Yeah, he's over in War Champs region.
Really?
Yeah.
He's that close? That's amazing. I did not. Today I learned. But guys, you are here with this TorCraft, and you're going to learn that we have some pretty awesome sponsors, because not only is Eschamp doing the streaming here today, we also got the War Champ on the production, Draconis out there as well for producing everything here. Four-Core Jester and Master Duck, we're here for the commentary side of things. But we got to give our big thanks to Anime North 2014 for having us here to do our TorCraft finals, to get involved here with Anime North. This is our second year here under the Eschamp flag. But as well, we have also Chairs for Gaming backing us now as well. And if you do look for some great gaming chairs and peripherals, Chairs for Gaming is the Canadian distributor, I believe, for DX Racer. And we have we do have actually a deal with Eschamp. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head.
If you use the code ESChamp on chairsforgaming.ca or .com, I can't quite